Hey everybody, what is up? I am back with making sure the mic's working there. I am back with another live stream and for the first time in a while, back with a Topics on My Mind live stream. Yes, Topics on My Mind. Basically, in case you guys don't know what that is, it's basically a live stream that I do when I can, or it's a live stream basically that I do when I can, or when I can, I should say. Just giving you my thoughts on certain topics and everything that people are talking about. But if I can't do it live, then what I do is I usually use my, whoops, had to connect it. I don't want to ruin the cable. I either use my phone right here, or I use the GoPro camera that I have. Make sure everything's working there. Or I use my camera like this to basically, do some separate videos, piece them together, and then that would be my topics on my mind, since I won't be able to do anything live if I don't have the opportunity. Now, first of all, I want to welcome those that are coming in live, like Simple Clone Trooper. Thank you for joining live. Superchats and super stickers are open and would be appreciated, guys. Even though I'm working and everything, every little bit helps outside. And hello, Hanson Terrell. Welcome to the live stream as well. Again, guys, super chats, super stickers are open. Whatever you can donate would help a lot. Even though I'm working and everything, every little bit counts, even outside of work, due to the fact that, well, long story short, I had to, and I'm going to get to this in a moment, I had to basically take care of something with the IRS and everything because it's tax season. And of course, if there's one thing, as I adjust the camera here a little bit, if there's one thing a lot of us don't like to do, it's the opposite of what we always look forward to when it comes to tax season, if you know what I mean. But yeah, super stickers, super chats are open, guys. Also, you can help support me financially at VENMO at Brian-Warmer-2 and at Cash App at BWRoses98. Whatever you guys can do would be greatly appreciated. Also, check me out at patreon.com/BWRoses, where you can support me with a $1 or $3 tier. The $1 tier gets you a shout out. The $3 tier gets you a shout out, and you get to see content before anybody else. I currently have a new video up there where I talk about a certain two-tailed fox being in certain situations, storyline-wise, from a fanfic standpoint, which of course ties in, which, believe it or not, that kind of ties into what I'm going to talk about later. And that video will be going public soon. But if you want to see it before anybody else, support me with the $3 tier at patreon.com/BWRoses. Also, you can check me out at deviantart.com/BVW1979. Also, check me out at BW Roses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check me out at VENMO at BW Roses for content you can't get here on YouTube due to copyright reasons. Now, before we get into the topics, of course, one of the things I like doing with these is talking about stuff that's been going on, kind of vlog a little bit, if you will. And to start off, as a lot of you are aware of, this past Friday, before I went to work, I didn't go to work. I was supposed to, but I couldn't, due to the fact that this past Friday, my dog of nearly 14 years passed away. Long story short, what happened is she got up as she normally does. I put a collar on, I put a flea collar on, I put a regular collar on with a license, and she got up as normally as she does. At least I kind of nudged her up a little bit, got her up. She walked from my room to the living room and then to the kitchen, to the screen door, if you will, the sliding door, the sliding door that leads to the backyard. She went out, did her business, and then she started walking around. Now, she walked around previously a couple of days before, and I'm thinking, oh, this is good. She's getting her exercise. It's nicer weather now. We're getting into the warmer portion of spring and then into summer. So it's nicer weather and everything. She's walking around getting her exercise. But what happened is that she's walking, like she goes this way. She goes off in this direction, does her business, And then she's walking like back over here, back over to here, back over to here. And then when she gets like to this portion right here, that's when she stops and she starts breathing hard. Now I'm thinking at first she's either going to throw up because, maybe she got into something she wasn't supposed to, or maybe she's just, caught something in her throat. She's going to throw up or something like that. But no, she starts panting and everything like she's hot, although, like I said, or it looks like she's going to throw up, I should say. But then her legs get wobbly, and then out of nowhere, she just falls to the left, if you will, and collapses. She just collapses. Her legs, basically, she starts panting, and then all of a sudden, her legs get wobbly, and I'm thinking, oh no, and I'm thinking right there, oh, don't you dare don't you dare do what I think you're about to do, and what I didn't want to happen did happen. Her legs started getting wobbly, and she just fell to the side, and basically that was it. That was it. She was basically starting to pass, if you will, to the point that when I picked her up, she was starting to go limp. I picked, like she was still alive, just barely, but she was going limp. I brought her to the porch, tried to get her to, move a little bit, tried to make sure she was all right. She was still breathing, but she was, like I said, going limp. She was still very limp. And then when I brought her in, like I said, she had just a little bit of life left. Brought her in, put her on the towel near the sliding door, the back door. And as soon as I put her on the towel, that's when she basically passed. Like, basically, she was holding on long enough for me to bring her in so she could pass in the house. And that's what happened. And I had to call my mom up. I was very emotional. I mean, who wouldn't be? You lose an animal that you've had since almost a puppy, at the age of almost 14 years old. And I called my mom. She had to drive. Luckily, she wasn't that far down. She was like on a steer road. She had to turn around, come back. And she got emotional because, it basically, it's like we knew this year would probably be the last year. Like if she would have made it until at least, let's say, the beginning of next year, it would have been all right. But we kind of knew like this would be her final year and everything, or at least, she'd be less active this year. And basically what happened is my mom had to call up her job saying, I'm going to have to call in because, she had to tell the people that she has to report to when she's going to miss a day that, hey, I think my dog's dying. My son just called me, I got to go back. And, that's what she did. She came back. I had to call my job, let them know I wasn't going to be in because, when something like that happens emotionally, you're not going to be able to focus. So so we both called in, and then we called my brother-in-law, my older sister's husband, to come and take us to Monte Vista, a small animal hospital, to have her taken care of. And what we had done is we had a private cremation done. What they do is they, just like with any veterinarian hospital, small animal or overall animal, what they do is they work with pet mortuary services, family pet mortuary services, to take care of things. And so what we did is we had a private cremation done for her. And basically what they did is they took her into the hospital. They gave us back her blankets because my mom wanted the blankets. And basically, they made sure they went through all details of what we wanted, private cremation, we want her ashes back. We want them in a box, just like they did with our cat. And then they even offered something that they didn't offer us with the cat. What they offered this time around was the paw prints. Basically, they took her paws, they put them in ink, and then put them onto a paper. And then, I'm not sure if they did that at the mortuary before they cremated her, or they did that at Monte Vista. I'm not really sure. But they basically, they have, like I said, they work out with these people, and these people basically, essentially, they give them, as I try to straighten this out here a little bit. There we go. Just trying to straighten it, guys. Hold on. Get the camera straighten there. There we go. But basically, they, they, like I said, they work with these people, and like I said, we got the private cremation. And what's crazy is it went a lot faster than with our cat. And I think the reason it went a lot faster than with our cat is a couple of years ago when we did it for our cat, we had to put her to sleep because, she had cancer. It was eating at her leg. Basically it was breaking down her leg. It was eating at her, and it was causing her to get weak. So we had to take her in, have her put to sleep. And then they had her cremated. And then we picked her up almost about a week later. The reason it went a lot quicker here is because, like I said, she passed at home. So it was, I guess, a lot easier and faster for them to take her to the mortuary, have her cremated, and then, have us pick her up on Monday, which we did. And, what's funny about it, and I want to take this time to talk about this because I'm sure I'm not the only one alone in thinking about this. What's funny about it is on Friday night, after we took care of all that, I walked into the living room to go get, a cup of orange juice, to get some orange juice to drink and relax. And when I walked past the living room, because we would have her bed in the living room, and it would be right next to the couch. When I walked past there, I felt her presence. Like, I felt that she was still there. Like, all I have to do is turn and say, there you are, I see you. That gave me a comforting feeling, if you will. It gave me a comforting feeling like, oh, she's there. She's there. It's, she's not gone anywhere, at all. Like, okay, let me correct that. Physically she's not there, but spiritually she is, just like with our cat. Like when I think of our cat, thinking, believing and knowing she's still here spiritually and presence wise, I know if I go into the garage, one of the things our cat used to do when she was around, she's like to hide, behind boxes or totes or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, I know you, or hide under the table. And I'd be like, oh, I know you're there. And that pretty much would, pretty much be a comforting thing to know that, even though our cat physically isn't here anymore, spiritually, presence wise, she is. And the same with our dog. I look at the caddy in the back here and, in the other room, I don't know if you can barely see it, but that thing right there, let me see that right there, that's the caddy where she used to lay in. Sometimes we could just imagine, okay, picture, okay, she's in there resting, especially if it's a warm day. So even though it hurt emotionally, it was very hard for us. We know she's in a better place, and we know spiritually, presence-wise, she's still with us. Not in her physical form, but in her spiritual presence form. And that to me is probably one of the best feelings outside of having her physically here. Same with the cat and everything. In fact, I even have this belief that they're up in heaven right now and they're walking alongside us, or they're standing alongside us. But what they're standing along and walking alongside is projected avatars. Like it's us, but what they're seeing is projected avatars of us down here. Like what I'm doing right now, my dog up there is sitting right next to me or laying down right next to me along with the cat. So they know, hey, that's our master. This is our master. This is our master here. I'm going to stand right next to them and relax. I'm going to lay down and relax. That's what they're pretty much doing. And that's always a good feeling to know they're still connected to us, both ways. Like they have some kind of image of us up there that they can walk alongside, lay down next to, and all that, along with those in our family that have passed before us that are, there with them, actually. And like I said, the equalness of it is we have the presence and spirit. We feel the spiritual presence still with us here as we speak. It's kind of like with my grandpa when he passed. My aunt, my mom's younger sister, if you will, who I think is the third to youngest sister or third youngest sibling. She said one time when she was at my grandma's, that she felt that she saw my grandpa peeking peeking around the corner from the fridge. Like here was the, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like this here, like this could be the fridge. She said she kind of saw him peeking around, like, hey, here I am. And some people might think, oh, that was demons and all that. No, I don't think that was. I think that was my grandpa's presence, letting them know, hey, I'm still here. Physically I may not be, but spiritually I am, and I'm here to protect. Not protect, but protect, but also watch over us. And so that's the feeling I get with my animals. The fact that even though physically they're not here, spiritually they are. Presence-wise, they are. I mean, I do this sometimes. I even reach down and I do this a little bit. I reach down, kind of do this, kind of like that, because I know they're there. Physically they're not, but spiritually they are. And that's always a good thing to like and enjoy. Because no matter how long they'll be gone or how long they've been gone, they're always there with you. I mean, even after our cat was put to sleep and we brought her ashes back and everything, in between all that, it still felt like she was there because we were used to knowing where she would be, just like with our dog. So even though it's sad that she passed and everything on Friday, I know she's in a better place now, and I know spiritually she's still with us. It's like nothing's really changed except, physically she's not here. She's, up there, but her spirit and everything is still with us. So that's a good thing. And I know I'm going to see her again and all that. I know I'm going to see her again in the future. And I thank God for the nearly 14 years she was with us. And when I calculated those 14 years, or near 14 years on my phone and on my computer, this surprised me because I don't know because when you Google like how old a dog is, at 13 or whatever years, like for a Jack Russell Terrier, like she was, when I looked that up and it said 78, I'm thinking that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right whatsoever. She was 13 to 14 years old. That doesn't seem right. So I calculated it by saying 14 times 7 or 13 times 7. And she was, in human years, 91 years old. Yeah, 91. Because you have to multiply 7 years. You got to add on 7 years. So instead of just, so like when they turn 1, they're 7. When they turn 2, the 14, 3, the 21, you get the idea. So she was 91 years old. And when I look back at how old I was when we got her, I had just turned 29 like 4 months prior. So I was in the final years of my 20s when we got her. And now I'm almost into the mid-range of my 40s. And, I know that, throughout those 14 years, I have great memories of her. I mean, she was with me when I got she wasn't with me in the car when it happened, but she was with me when I started working at Walmart. She was with me when I started working at Target. She was with me when I would go help my brother-in-law, my older sister's husband, wash cars across the Bay Area. She was with me and my mom through all that. Heck, she was even with me when I was home alone when my mom went off to Vegas for her birthday. And even after that, went to Chicago to see my nephew again because he was graduating out of the Naval Academy. And if that's not enough, she was with me, or at least with my mom, when I went off to Disneyland for the first time. And she was always glad to see us when we got back. But yeah, there's so many memories. Just so many memories and all that. And it's never going to be forgotten. Never. And again, this is why when I look around here, I look at the areas, I normally know she would be in. I know presence-wise, spiritually, she's still there. I still see her. I picture in my mind that she is still there. Same with the cat. Like I said earlier, when I go into the garage and I look around and I see the areas where she would hide or be at, I'd be like, I picture in my mind, yep, she's right there. And I think that's the same for a lot of us when we have an animal that passes. You know, we just got to remember, okay, what areas were they in the most? What areas would they, you know, lay down in the most, or kind of, you know, settle down in the most, or kind of just, basically be around the most when it came to the house. And whatever area that is for you guys, all you have to do is in your mind picture them in that area, and you know they're not in your mind. When you do that, you know that they are not, you know, gone at all, because the spirit is still with you. And if you look in the areas you know they always were in, or you would always see them around in, all you have to do is picture in your mind, yep, I know them, I know they're right there, I see them right there. And you know, that's good enough for me. It's good enough for me, because again, I walk into that living room and I know she's still there. I see her. You know, even though her box containing her ashes is in the center of the table, you know, I look where her bed was and I'm like, she's there. She's there. And that's the one thing too. You know, my mom was considering, you know, giving away her beds to my oldest sister, and my thought was, no, you know, I don't want to see that happening. As I adjust the camera here, I was like, no, I don't want to see that happening. I say that with all due respect and love to my sister, but she's got plenty of beds there. And the way they treat some of the beds sometimes, though, depending, because she's got, you know, two big dogs. One of them is my niece's. One is a medium-sized dog, a little bit bigger than mine was. And then another's a big old dog. And then she's got one that was about the same size as mine, maybe a bit smaller. And the thing is, I don't know what they'll do with those beds. So I'd rather keep them here, put them in plastic bags, store them for potential future use. But that may not be for a very long time. We'll put it that way. But yeah, you know, I don't want a chance that something could happen and all that to the beds there. So I'd rather keep them here. And the fact that my mom paid a lot of money for them. That's the thing. She paid a lot of money for those beds. As I adjust the camera again, she paid a lot of money for those beds. So she, you know, and I know deep down she doesn't want to get rid of them either as well. But yeah, you know, it like I said, it was sad, but you know, she was a good dog. She gave us nearly 14 years, over almost a decade and a half worth of joy, and that'll never be forgotten. And that is why, again, spiritually, she's still with us. And all I have to do is just picture the areas that I normally would see her in, relaxing or resting or eating her dingoes or whatever, and say, yep, you're right there. I see you. You know, anyway, again, I thank the Lord for that. And, you know, again, she's always going to be with us no matter what. Now, before she passed, of course, me and my mom did our taxes. And my mom, she ended up getting some money back from the tax, from the federal, from the IRS. Me, I ended up getting some back from the state, a whopping $11. Whoopee! You know, but on the other hand, the federal is what I owed, because apparently I didn't have a year's worth of health insurance to back me up with. So I only had a couple months, and I ended up owing instead of getting. And I'll put it this way, I owed over I'll put it this way, I'm not going to give you a specific number, but I'll round it to almost $750 is what I owed. And yes, I did pay it, but I paid it thanks to some help. And that's why when I come on here and I will recently say super chats and super stickers are open, it would be appreciated more than ever, it's because even though I work, I would like to have a little extra money back to pay back the person that helped me out. And the person that helped me out, you can pretty much guess, is, you know, the same person that lives in the house with me. So basically, you know, that's why, like I said, you know, with the exception of me working, that is why I always say, hey, super chats are open and would be appreciated, because, you know, whatever people could do helps me out in the long run. You know, when I get paid by Google and YouTube. And the same with Venmo and Cash App. You know, a lot of people say Venmo and Cash App's a lot quicker because it's like right there, and that's true. But with super chats and super stickers, it helps increase my pay that I would end up getting, my monetization pay. I would get every other month or the following month or whatever, so that I could have a little extra dough right then and there. And that's why I've been asking for super chats and everything, because, I did not expect to have to owe this year. That was the one thing. And that's the one thing I don't like about the IRS. It's like if you don't have something, or you miscalculate, or you think, oh, I'm in the clear with something, and it's an honest mistake either on their end or the tax preparer's end. It's like, you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't end up owing. You shouldn't. Even with the health insurance stuff or health coverage stuff, I think honestly they should at least consider, okay, they had 4 months, 6 months, 4 to 6 months with the health insurance. They don't owe a thing. But the opposite happened. The opposite happened. I ended up, owing more than I wanted to, and thank God I had the help of the person that lives here with me, that being my mom, to get me through that. And now I have to, over time pay her back. But I would like to get that done with quicker than normal. And that's why, again, like I said, I come out and I say super chats, super stickers are open, would be appreciated, and also suggest helping me out through places like Venmo and Cash App to do the same thing. But yeah, it's this one thing I think a lot of us don't like about the IRS. It's owing money when we shouldn't owe anything. This should be a season, a portion of the year where we get money back and not owe a damn cent. I'll put it that way. But yeah, that's why I always, do what I always put in the description and always mention at the end of a video and even at the beginning of a live stream, where you can help financially, or where you can help me out financially in the long run. Now, with that said, I'm also drinking some of the Zoa, which is pretty good. With that said, let's get into the topics here at 27 minutes and 25 seconds. Let's talk about the topics, and we have 6 topics here to talk about, folks. The first one is probably one of the more talked about sagas going on right now in the country, and that is Florida versus Disney World. That is Florida versus Disney World. We'll talk about that. I'll even bring up something I heard Matt Brunet, I think, talk about in his crazy podcast. I haven't watched all of it yet, but I watched basically him talking about this right off the bat. So I'll give my thoughts on what he had to mention on it as well. The second topic is, should CinemaCon, which is currently going on right now, be open to the public, like, let's say, San Diego Comic-Con? Well, I'll give my thoughts on that. Number 3, the third topic we'll talk about is, will the 45-day theatrical window last much longer? We'll get into that. Number 4, we will talk about, will Netflix bring back seasons 5 to 8 of Friendship is Magic to be shown alongside the first 8 of 23 episodes of Make Your Mark? Number 5, we'll talk about, why do fanfic writers of mature stories, I put story instead of stories, I can correct that later, choose characters like Tails from the Sonic franchise to be the focal point of the NFSW stories. We'll talk about that. And then number 6, could we see movies/shows with the main female character gaining shape-shifting powers to have fun with? Could we see something in the near future? So those are the topics right there, and hopefully you could see them and read them, making sure you can. Excuse me. And then before we start, let me get a little drink of water here to clear me up. Okay. Now, let's go on to our first topic here, guys. Our first topic, which is, like I say, one of the big ones out there currently going on. And it's a topic that Matt Brunet started with. And the first topic we're going to talk about, as we count down here, let's see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. first topic we're going to talk about at 30 minutes exact is the Florida versus Disney World ongoing saga. Now, in case you guys don't know what that is, Governor DeSantis in Florida recently signed in a bill. Thank you, David Michael, for the prayers video for me. Thank you very much for that. And again, guys, anybody that's joining me in live right now, super chats and super stickers are open, would be appreciated. Also, support me on Venmo and Cash App. Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 and at Cash App at BW Roses 98. Anyway, not long story short, but anyway, back on topic to our first topic here, Florida versus Disney World's ongoing saga. In case you guys don't know, or haven't been paying attention, Governor DeSantis recently signed in a bill called the Don't Say Gay Law. And what this basically means is, well, it's essentially a law that basically, prohibits any kind of LGBTQ-ness in Florida, as far as I know. Even though there are LGBTQ couples, married couples, girlfriend, boyfriend there and all that, transgens, what have you, even though they are there in Florida, this bill by DeSantis pretty much is to nullify any of that, from what I understand. Basically, if you're a transgen or you consider yourself a lesbian or gay, and all that, you get the idea, yaoi, whatever you want to call it. If you consider yourself any one of those, now I haven't read the bill entirely myself, but pretty much you don't have the right to be able to go to school, as far as I know. You don't have the rights there are certain rights that you have taken away, basically. We'll put it that way, simply. You have certain rights that are taken away from you because of what you represent. And this bill has gotten so much backlash and controversy, not just from those of the LGBTQ community in Florida, but all over the country. And the reason it's gotten that is because basically they feel what DeSantis is doing is taking away the rights, to those that are American. He's taking the rights to, he's basically taking the rights away from rightful Americans just because of their choice of lifestyle. And Disney World has pretty much said, look, we're about supporting LGBTQ. We're not going to be against it. And, that's about it. They're basically trying to stand up for the LGBTQ community, even though it's pretty much been noted that they haven't done much beforehand. Now they are. I guess basically Bob JPEG and his crew is doing something now to make themselves look good, to save face or whatever. But because now that they're taking action and speaking out against DeSantis' decision, DeSantis is firing back at them. And recently, as a way of showing them that, hey, you're either with me or you're against me. And if you're against me, I'll have the entire state turn against you as well. He and his crew, his GOP crew, has signed into, it doesn't go into effect till about next year, from what I understand. But he has signed a bill taking away Disney World's self-governing rights. That's right. He signed a bill that's taking away their self-governing rights. And what that means is that Disney World used to have, because they're so massive, they're basically the biggest Disney park in the world, period. They're like their own little country, if you will. But the thing is, okay, let me go on. Okay. Because of the fact that they are not siding with him and his GOP crew have signed into law, or basically signed a bill taking away the self-governing rights that Disney World had. Disney World's self-governing rights allowed them to pay whatever they needed to pay for certain things like, like ambulance, fire stations, taxes, if you will, land, rental on land or mortgage on land. You get the idea. Basically, anything that, the taxpayers like myself or even my cousin who lives in Florida would pay to support or things with or to help, I guess, fund things, whether they wanted to fund them or not. Disney, because they had these self-governing laws, would be doing that themselves. They wouldn't have people doing it for them. But now, DeSantis and his party, or those working with him, have taken that away, or at least they're on the process of taking that away. It's not supposed to take effect, as far as I know, until June 2023. So obviously, what DeSantis and them are doing by signing this into law or signing off on this bill, threatening or basically saying that, hey, we're going to take your rights away of self-governing. What they're doing is they're giving them time, because they could easily sign it in right now and automatically do it if they want to. They could. If DeSantis has a lot of people on his side, then there's nothing, that would stop him from automatically doing it right now. But if it's planned for a year from now, a little over a year from now, then what DeSantis is doing is he's saying, Disney, I'm giving you guys time to change your minds. I could make this all go away, give you back your power, give you back your self-governing laws and everything. All you have to do is say, we, Disney World, stand with DeSantis. And we at Disney, we are against the LGBTQ because that is wrong. That is, from what I'm getting, in my opinion, that is what I'm seeing here. That is what I'm seeing here with DeSantis, giving them this over year's time before it takes effect. And that time frame is, hey, you side with me, this goes away. You don't side with me, then next year, say goodbye to your governing laws. And oh, by the way, people of Orange County and Osceola County, Osceola County, guess what? You guys are going to have to pay some extra taxes now. Really? Why? Well, because Disney World did not want to agree with me, and don't say gay bill and all that. So guess what? You guys are going to suffer now because they did not want to agree. And that's potentially what will happen, is those people in those counties surrounding Disney or around the Disney World area will be paying for all the amenities that Disney was paying themselves. And that's obviously why DeSantis is doing this. Again, he could easily do it right now. He could easily take everything away like that right now. But he's giving them time to say, hey, you got over a year's time. And hopefully, maybe before this year's out, you guys will make the right decision and say, DeSantis, oh, hail you. We hail you. You were right. How can we think we were so stupid? That's about it. I know that was kind of weird to do and all that, but you get the idea. You get the idea. And again, and again, it's just one of these situations to where, it's just one of these situations to where you have a situation. Okay, let me rewind here. Okay. What's going on here is basically, like I said, he's giving them a time frame. He's saying, you got a year. You got a little over a year to change your mind, or else this will go into effect. And because it will go into effect, these people will not be blaming me, they'll be blaming you. That's the thought process of DeSantis and his crew. They believe the folks in those counties will be blaming Disney for not siding with DeSantis and not him. But I think what DeSantis is not realizing is the opposite potentially could happen. Because what will happen is the people will be like, well, Disney's standing up, because you can't tell me, honestly, there aren't LGBTQ couples and all that in those counties. They will see this and be like, or those that support the LGBTQ community in those counties, they'll be like, we're not going to put the blame on Disney. We're going to put the blame on you. And what DeSantis is doing, effectively, when you think about it, and I don't even think he realizes this, is he's hurting his own chances of being reelected. Yeah. Yeah, Florida might be an old Republican state, but guess what? There are Republicans that support LGBTQ and support the LGBTQ community. And those Republicans will vote for the other candidate. They will. Here's the thing. Once the Florida re-elections happen again for governorship and DeSantis tries running, whatever Democrat or independent runs against him, the Republicans that voted for him, that support LGBTQ communities, probably have family members or friends that are LGBTQ, they're going to vote for those other people. And when DeSantis finds out that, wait a minute, I'm no longer going to be governor, what happened? Then the revelation that his party is going to tell him, or those that will be on his team will tell him, is, remember that bill you put together, the Don't Say Gay thing that you took away the self-governorship from Disney for because they didn't side with you? Yeah, that pretty much doomed you. We kind of warned you about that, but you didn't listen. And that's basically what is going to happen, and he doesn't see that. It's kind of similar to here with Newsom. Newsom now all of a sudden is starting to make all the right decisions. He's suddenly starting to make the decisions he should have made long before. Like even when we were getting into the tail end of this pandemic, here in California, and we were slowly rising up, if you will, in non-cases, basically being purged of the entire situation. He did not make any decisions right away to say, hey, look at these numbers. We're doing good. Let's free up some other areas. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because he didn't make those decisions right away, or he turned his back on certain decisions or certain people, he said, oh, don't worry, you're going to have this at this time. And then it turned out they had to wait a little longer. Newsom pretty much doomed himself to almost be taken out of office beforehand, and with a recall, which he survived. But when it comes to the re-election, that's going to be a different story. All because these governors think they're doing what's right, and they don't realize that although the state is mostly supportive of this party and that party, that members of those parties still support certain things that you think and may believe, oh, they're going to side with me. They'll side with me. There's nothing against what I'm doing being wrong. They'll side with me. They'll see it. No, even those that vote for you, support you, they won't agree with some of the decisions you make, and that's going to cost you in the end. And with DeSantis, just like with Newsom, it's going to cost him. It's going to cost him any re-election possibilities he has. And hello, William Shotwell. Welcome to the live chat. And again, guys, super chats, super stickers are open. Whatever you guys can do would be appreciated. As well as you can support me at Venmo at Brian-Walmart-2 and at Cash App at BWRoses98. But anyway, like I said, what Newsom has done and making some of these dumb decisions, even being caught at that party, at that wine country club and all that, while we were all stuck at home mostly, or still kind of semi-stuck at home, all he has done, and what DeSantis is doing right now with what the decision he's made, is that's costing them any chance of being reelected. And when DeSantis wakes up the next day and realizes after the election of why he's only in the last few months of his governmentship, only then will he probably come out and say, you know what, I re-invoked the decision of, the decision I did or I made about, the Don't Say Gay bill. I'm re-invoking it. Disney, here's your self-governing stuff back. I was wrong and everything, and I apologize for that. That's what's going to happen. In his last few months, he's going to probably have to reverse and null and void any decision he made, when it comes to something like this. But another question a lot of people would have is why? Why would he do this? He should know better, right? Well, here's the thing, and this is coming from somebody that is a born-again Christian, okay? Born-again Christian, baptized and all that. And this is my opinion, the reason DeSantis is doing this is because you got to remember, The Republican Party has always been strongly tied to Christianity. Whether it's straight up Christianity, whether it's Catholic, baptism, whatever, it's always been tied to that. And any person, any Republican that's been elected into office, whether as president or a governor, that's a Republican, has always been a Christian of some kind. And Christians, believe it or not, and again, I say this with all due respect, no offense, Christians are known to have been known to basically be against LGBTQness. They have been taught to be against it. And why? Because from a Christianity standpoint, again, whether you're a Catholic Christian, straight up Christian, baptism, Methodist, whatever, you are basically taught that LGBTQness is an abomination. It is wrong. And that a relationship of romance should be between a man and a woman, not a woman and a woman and a man and a man. Because if it's with with people of the same sex, it's an abomination. That is until, believe it or not, you find out that in your own family, you have people that are like that, and you have a better understanding of maybe it's not our cup of tea, but if it's what makes them happy, that's all that matters. If it makes them happy and it's not our cup of tea, though, that's fine. We're willing to accept it. Even though, we're taught that it's not right. We're taught that it's wrong. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you see someone like DeSantis making these kind of decisions, if you will, or any other Republican governor or president, whatever, making these kind of decisions, it's mainly because of the fact that they're following a belief that they were taught from the beginning, not only from reading the Bible, but by going to church and all that, and that is LGBTQness is wrong. That's pretty much what it is. Now, here's the thing, though. If DeSantis' Don't Say Gay bill is only for a specific reason, whether it's because of, he doesn't want it taught in schools, workplaces, whatever, then that's fine. Just come out and say it. If that's the case, just come out and say it. But that's not the case. That's not really the case. And I just had a notification put on me saying Disney Fanatic has something premiering in about 30 minutes. Yeah. All right, thank you, David White at Arcade and Toy Channel. But anyway, like I said, we're taught, or they've been taught from the beginning by reading the Bible, going to church, and all that it's wrong. That it's wrong. But again, if what this bill is truly about is to make sure it's not taught in school or allowed in school or at the workplace, that's another story. If it's not, about, preventing it from being in public and everything, then fine. Make that more clear. Just say, hey, look, the reason I'm against you, Disney, is because you have LGBTQ people working for you. I don't want that there. I want you guys to have people that are straight. It's like, hey, if they want to be LGBTQ, that's fine, but not on the work clock or something like that. And if that's it, if that's what it's about, then fine. But he's got to make it more clear as to the specifics of this bill, is what DeSantis needs to do. He needs to make it more clear. And he's not. He's not making it clear whatsoever. And because he's not making it clear, he's putting himself in a bind. He's putting himself in a bind to where basically he's costing himself his own reelection. And if he and Newsom, because of the decisions they've made that put, the people against them, if they think they're still going to have a shot at running for president or consider running for president in 2024, they can forget that. They can forget that with any future governmentship in the near future because of what's going on. But again, in my opinion, the reason I think he's doing this is because he's a born-again Christian. Or at least he's a Christian of some kind of faith. Whether he's a straight-up Christian, Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, you name it, he's of the faith of the LGBTQ-ness is an abomination and it's wrong. And by putting this kind of a bill out there, he's not just doing it because he wants to send a message of, hey, I'm not going to allow this in my state. And then, hey, if I consider running for president, I'm not going to allow it in the country, period, and everything. If this is his way of trying to gain goodwill for a potential presidential run, like I said, he can forget it. He can forget it, But this is a situation to where when I look at the time frame, of, when I look at the time frame, and thank you, David White at Arcade and Toy Channel. But when I look at the time frame and everything, when I look at the time frame, again, it's almost like he's giving them time to change their minds. That's what he's doing. But what's going to happen is because he's doing this, is he's going to go through the same situation Newsom did. That's a fact. He's going to go through the same situation Newsom did. The people in Florida are going to start building petitions, if not already, to recall him out of office because they don't like what he's doing. And any decision he's made, along with his party, those decisions will become null and void, and Disney might get the self-governing status back. They won't have to worry about, hey, we're on a crunch time, or we have a certain time frame to make up our minds. So to me, this is a situation that, in the end, this ongoing saga with the two, it's a situation that's not going to end well for one side or the other. It's either going to not end well for Disney, because now they're going to have to basically lower the prices, which would be a good thing, but basically lower the prices and all that, or side with DeSantis so they don't lose the self-governmentship, or it's going to end wrong for DeSantis because he's either going to get a recall heading his way, or people are going to not let him stay in office because of the decisions he's made. And that was our new neighbors right next door to us. They love the cars. Believe it or not, they love the cars. But, he's basically he's going to either face a recall or he's not going to be elected back into office at all, period. And I think he knows that. I think he's aware of that. So and when you really think about it, that's why I feel he's put this time frame. I will try to do that. Don't worry, William. But again, this is why I think he's giving them this time frame, so that if they side with him, he'll give him back the self-governing law status, and they won't have, and he probably won't have to worry about being, or in his mind, he won't have to worry about being removed from office. But that could be an entirely different story, situation in its own right, because that could all blow up in his face. It really could, because even if Disney decides to side with him, who's to say it's going to help him keep his, job as governor? It's not. Yeah, I've seen that. Thank you for telling me. It's not. So, again, either way, when you look at this entire situation is not going to end for one side. It's not going to end well for one side or the other, period. So, anyway, we'll just have to pray and see what the direction is for that. All right. So, anyway, on to our second topic at 54 minutes and 45 seconds. Our second topic is, should CinemaCon be open to the public, let's say San Diego Comic-Con? Now, in case you guys don't know what CinemaCon is, CinemaCon right now is currently going on in Vegas, and what it is basically a convention for NATO, the National Association of Theater Owners, and those related to them, like the press and all connected to them, like the press and all that. Excuse me. And what they do is they present every studio from Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, Lionsgate, Sony. What they do, what they do is they present a lot of the upcoming features that they're working on, either in production, pre-production, post-production, final edits, and all that, that, are going to be showcased in the theaters. And they're presenting a lot of these, to the theater owners to let them know, hey, this is what's, coming your way. Hopefully you'll be impressed. And again, this is mainly for the NATO people and those of the press, like the John Campea show and all that. And, one thing a lot of people are curious about is this a convention that's open to the public? And unfortunately, it's not. It's not that kind of convention. Like I said, it's a convention that's only for the National Association of Theater Owners and those related in that category, like the John Campea show and stuff. And what they do at these conventions, like I said, is they present, they give presentations as to, what they're working on, what's coming and all that, as well as once in a while, they'll show a screening, sometimes a surprise screening, sometimes an announced screening of one of the movies that's coming to theaters that they've been working on. They finished, it's in the can, and is on the verge of being on the big screen, in the near future. That's what this convention is about. Like last year when John and Aaron of the John Campea show went to it, at the Sony presentation, they got an unexpected screening of the entire Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. That's what they got. And then a couple of days later, they got a screening of Clifford the Big Red Dog. This week, they got a screening coming up of a upcoming movie. I think it's called Booth or something like that. So that's going to be shown. That's already been announced, but who's to say they haven't had already some advanced screenings or surprise advanced screenings that they didn't expect? So anyway, again, getting back on topic, a lot of people are wondering, is this a convention anybody could go to? And unfortunately, it's not. But here's the thing, but getting back on the topic here, should it be? Should it be a convention open to the public, like let's say a San Diego Comic-Con or a New York Comic-Con? Should it be that kind of a convention? And that's a good question. And I think, honestly, yeah, I think it should. I think CinemaCon should be a convention, not just for the National Association of Theater Owners and the related press that's connected to them, but I think it should be open to the public. I think the public should be able to go there, be put in a certain area of the theater or building, wherever they're going to be. Well, like let's say on the left side is the public, like on the left and right side of the building, theater, whatever, is the fans, is the regular public, and even in the upper decks, the regular public, and in the middle is the theater owners and the press. There you go. I think they should do something like that, because that way, people can get a better idea of what's coming to theaters, and it can get them more hyped up to want to go back to the theaters to see what's being shown to them there, whether it's 15 minutes for the first 15 or 20 minutes of a film. It'll get them excited to want to go back. So honestly, do I think CinemaCon should be a public kind of like convention, like they say San Diego and New York and all that? Absolutely. Because like I said, you could have that middle section of the building you're in or the room you're in reserved for NATO and the press. But on the other side, you could have that open. On the other side, I should say, as well as on the upper salon decks, if they have those could be open to the public. So that way, You can that way you could entice the public to go to the theaters to see what's being, get shown to them right then and there, like through sneak peeks, sizzle reels, you name it. So to me, I think yes, CinemaCon should be open to the public without a shadow of a doubt. It should be, and not just the presentations that they get, but I think they should give them this. I think they should give them a similar treatment. Like they put on these continental breakfasts, lunches, and all that, for the NATO people and the press, and that's fine. But I think they also should do something similar for the public if they were to open it to the public. Not give them the same treatment, but give them something similar that's, like on the outskirts, like, separation, if you know what I mean. Kind of separate so there's no like interaction of, oh, I know who you are, no, keep it in a way to where the public have their opportunity to eat, have brunch, and all that, as well as the same with the people that are invited guests to attend this, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I do think CinemaCon should be open to the public as well, and hopefully maybe someday they'll think about it. Or not think about it, but they'll do that. Hopefully one day they'll do that, because look, if theater owners want to get people back into theaters in a big way, invite them to CinemaCon, let them see what's going to be coming to your theaters, and that'll do it. Period. So yeah, I honestly think they should allow that to happen. All right, so our next topic at 1 hour and 50 minutes. 1 hour, and, or should I say 61 hour? Okay, we'll put it this way. Let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. So our next topic is 62 minutes. Is will the 45-day theatrical window last much longer? Now, in case you guys don't know what that is, last year, because of the pandemic, it was decided by all studios that a lot of the movies that'll be on the big screen would have 45-day windows before going digital or streaming. So in other words, if you're watching the Sonic 2 movie in theaters and everything, and you want to watch it again, but you can't afford to go back or else your schedule's booked up, then all you have to do is wait until Memorial Day weekend or around that time to see it. Because we know April 8th is when it came in theaters. May 8th marks 30 days. May 18th marks 40 days, right? The 25th, around Memorial Day weekend, is 45 days. So if you can't afford to see it in the theaters again, or you're all booked up because of work and stuff, then, Memorial Day weekend is the best opportunity you have. The best opportunity you have to watch it, because it'll show up on Paramount Plus, period. I think we all know that it will show up on Paramount Plus. And, a lot of people are cool. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people that are cool with this. There's a lot of people that are cool with this, and there are some that are not. As I've said before, it's like you have 75, it's like out of 100% of people all across this country that know about this 45-day theatrical window deal, 75% of them are cool with it. That 75% is the movie going public, like myself. The 25% that's not for it are those that work on the movies, like the producers, the directors, the script writers, and even the actors and actresses that might also be producers and directors of the film that they're in. Those represent the 25%. Those represent the 25% that are not in favor of this. And believe it or not, that's the 25% that has a lot more power than the 75% that is. They have a lot more pull than the 75% that's for it. And, that does raise the question of, will this 45-day window last much longer? And if that 25% that represents, like I said, the actors and actresses, the producers, the directors, the writers, and all that behind the stuff, if they have that more leverage and say and what goes on with the movie, then I have to say that the 45-day window won't last much longer. I just don't see it. I just don't see it because you have people like Christopher Nolan, Tom Cruise, and a variety of others that don't like the idea that the movies they work on and star in are only going to be in there for about a month and 2 weeks. They don't like that. They don't like it's going to be only for about 6 weeks worth. They don't like that. They want it to be longer. So they are, like I said, they represent the 25% of people that are against it that have a lot more power and pull than the 75% that are for it. Because there's a lot of folks, believe it or not, that are like, you know what? I want to see the movie again, but I don't want to go back into theater because I don't want to waste money and all that. I'll wait until it comes on streaming and, within the next month or so. And that's what people do. Even though a movie could be making a lot of money in the box office still, like The Batman is, people would rather wait until it came on HBO Max, which it did recently, to watch it again. The other reason people prefer the 75% of movie-going public that prefer the 45-day window is if they want to see the movie again, whether it's The Batman, Sonic, whether it's the, everywhere, every place, everywhere movie, whatever it's called. If they want to see it again, even Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, if they want to see it again, then, but they don't want to go back into theaters and waste money and all that, one of the other benefits they like about the theatrical window is that once it comes to streaming, all they have to do is pick up the remote like this, and if they have to go use the restroom, all they have to do is go click. All they have to do is go click, pause it, go to the restroom, go get something to eat, and there you go. But again, even though that 75% is in favor of that, the 25% that's not has a more pull than we can expect because they're Hollywood people. And they'd rather have the movie-going public experience the movie on the big screen for a lot longer than 45 days. In other words, they want everybody to have an opportunity. And I can understand that. I really can. Because if you're Tom Cruise and the Top Gun and Mission Impossible movies are your babies, and you want everybody to enjoy them the way they're meant to be, then yeah, I can understand the frustration of, hey, I didn't make this movie. I and my team didn't pour all this time and effort into this, all this money into it, just so we could have less than a month worth, or less than a month and a half's run in theaters. No, I want this to be longer. So, I can understand that. I can understand where he's coming from. But again, you got to realize, even though we're at the very tail end of a pandemic, there's a lot of people, believe it or not, that are still not sure. And even if they do go to the theaters masked up and all that, they would rather, if the movie's good to them and they want to see it again, they'd rather wait until about 44 days later to see it on streaming and be like, comfort of my own home. Oh, you know what? I gotta go get me a Zoa to drink. Keep me going. Let me get my remote. Click, and there you go. That would be the benefit they see. But honestly, again, like I said, it's one of those situations where the 25% that doesn't like it, that mostly also represents those in Hollywood that have worked on movies like Top Gun Maverick and Mission Impossible and all that. That 25% has a lot more pull and power than the 75% that is all for the 45-day window. And that's a fact, unfortunately. That's a fact, unfortunately. But yeah, do I think it's going to last longer? Not if people like Nolan and Cruise and others have some say. It won't. But we'll have to see. Right now, it's here to stay, but I don't expect it to stay much longer. As a matter of fact, I would predict that before this year's out, they're going to announce the ending of the 45-day window. I just got this feeling. And it's all going to be because of that 25% that has a lot more pull than the 75%. All right, number four. Number four topic and we're going to let this count down a little bit, guys. Again, super chats and super stickers are open. It would be appreciated. Next up, we have at 70 minutes. Next topic. Will Netflix bring back seasons 5 to 8 of Friendship is Magic to be shown alongside the first 8 of 23 episodes of Make Your Mark? And that is a good question because right now we know seasons 1 to 4 are on Netflix. We know season 9 is on Hulu. And we know that the Make Your Mark special, which is basically a continuation of the movie, comes out next month. And we know in September, the first 8 of 23 episodes will be debuting. But the question is, should or will Netflix bring back seasons 5 to 8 of Friendship is Magic to be along with it or to be shown along with it? And if I'm Hasbro in their E1 productions, I would say yes. I would say yes. Bring it. I would say if I'm Hasbro, I would talk to Netflix and say, let's work something out. Let's bring back seasons 5 to 8 of Friendship is Magic and have it shown alongside Make Your Mark. So that way people have more than just this new series to watch. They can also see what it's connected to because there's going to be a lot of folks, believe it or not, a lot of new fans, I should say, believe it or not, they're going to watch the movie. They're going to watch Make Your Mark and not know exactly what they're referencing to when it comes to Friendship is Magic because all they'll have is seasons 1 to 4, but not the full context. So do I think Netflix will bring them back to be shown alongside Make Your Mark? Honestly, yes. I think they do. I think they will. I think they will do it because if you really want people to be satisfied with your product and you don't want to keep people from being negative against you according to several reports, one of the things you do is you take a series like Friendship is Magic, you bring back the rest of what you took away to run alongside your new version of MLP, which is somewhat connected, I wouldn't say somewhat, but it's definitely connected to it in continuity status. You do that, and, you pretty much, regain the trust of those that you start to lose the trust of. So, to me, I honestly believe they will. And I think that's why when you really think about it, I think that's why they removed them. Because they want people to focus not just on the first 4 seasons, but they also want them to focus on Make Your Mark. And then when the series officially debuts, I think that's when they'll bring it back. So that way you could have the latter seasons, which I believe, Generation 5 ties more into than just seasons 1 to 4. So do I think Friendship is Magic seasons 5 to 8 will come back on Netflix to be shown alongside Make Your Mark? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because they're going to have more because if you just use seasons 1 to 4, it's not going to it'll work. It'll give some context, but not what we got with 5 to 8. So to me, Make Your Mark is going to have Friendship is Magic's first 8 seasons running alongside it come September. I just got this feeling. I really do. And I know some people might say, oh, well, you don't know that. You don't know if that's going to happen. True, I don't. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But to me, if I'm Netflix, it makes a heck of a lot more sense to do, especially if you want people to basically truly trust and give, not only truly trust you, but to trust and give a chance to this new MLP generation that is getting a lot of this hype. So I truly believe that, yes, 5 to 8, in my opinion, seasons 5 to 8 of Friendship is Magic will return to Netflix and will be shown alongside Make Your Mark to help really tie things all together in the long run. And that's just my opinion. All right, number 5. Number 5 at 74 minutes and 15 seconds. Number 5 topic. Why do fanfic writers of mature stories choose characters like Tails from the Sonic franchise to be the focal point of their NFSW stories? And that is a good question. I've talked about this before. This is actually one of the main topics of the video that's currently on Patreon right now, exclusively before going public here on YouTube. The reason fanfic writers choose characters like Tails is because of the way they're designed. The current design basically gives off that vibe of no woman, and I say this with all due respect, no woman in the franchise, in the continuity, in that world can resist him. No woman. Period. I mean, you take a look. Well, that's not a. Let's see which one. Let me get one here. Here we go. You take a look at the boom tails here. Okay, you take a look at boom tails, and you look at the design he has, and then you also look at the design he has in the movie now, as well as in the game, and you kind of see why basically a lot of fanfic writers of the mature NFSW stories choose him to kind of get it on with certain female characters of that universe. Characters like, not just, like, let's say, Amy Rose, Rouge the Bat, Styx, Bernadette Hedgehog of the Archie Sonic books, Vanilla, Rosemary Prower, his mom from the Archie Sonic books, Queen Alicia, Sally's mom from the Archie Sonic books, Sally herself, Bunny, you name it. You wonder why. You take a look at his design from Sonic Boom, the way he's designed now currently and all that, and then you age him up like some of the stories do, like some of the fanfic writers do for those stories. You age him up, and yeah, I don't think it's a no-brainer to see why they would choose him. And if it's not that, it's because of the fact that a lot of people have always thought that the design of Tails was cute and adorable. So why not apply that into these kind of stories, if you know what I mean? But yeah, when you really get down, when you really get down to it, if you want to know why the character is always chosen to be put into these kind of situations, if you will, if you want to know why a character like him is always put into these kind of situations, it's because of the way they're designed from a character standpoint and how you could apply that design to maybe aging them up by a few years. That's pretty much it, in my opinion. That's pretty much it. And it's crazy to think that. It's crazy to think that, but it's true. It really is true. I mean, when I first found out about this, I was like, really? Is this the reason? And many people would say, well, have you seen how he's designed? So yeah. Basically, the reason people choose a character like Tails, they might choose a character like Spike from Friendship is Magic and stuff, is because of how they're designed and how they can be looked at, in the future. Like, people will look at Spike in the Last Problem episode and they're like, holy shoot, what the heck is this? So you can imagine how they would look at someone like Tails, especially if you look at, let's say, the Mobius Years Later story arc. Yeah, that pretty much gives you a good clue as to what he could look like in the near future. But yeah, it's just mind-blowing, some of the stories that they come up with. I mean, you got different variations of him having a harem, basically a harem, if you will. You have different stories of him having to satisfy the needs of dissatisfied wives or fiancés or whatever. I mean, heck, you have stories to where the girlfriend, wife of someone decides to come on to him because her husband, boyfriend, is not, giving as much as he used to. So yeah, and basically it's always based from the description of that character sees Tails as, adorable, cute, and hey, someone, they would love to get with. And that is what, and the same goes for Spike of Friendship is Magic and all that. So if anybody's always been curious as to why fanfic writers always choose characters like Tails from the Sonic franchise or even Spike from Friendship is Magic to be placed into these scenarios as the focal point of the NFSW stories, there's your reason, from what I can tell. There's your reasons. Anyway, moving on to our sixth and final topic. Could we see movies and shows with the main female character gaining shape-shifting powers to have fun with? Could we see something like this, or could we see something in the very near future? Now, the reason I bring that up, and I've brought it up before, is there's word going around that we're going to get a Plastic Man movie, but it's going to have a female character as the center point, thus making it a Plastic Woman movie, from what I can tell. We know we're getting the Metal Men in animation form for a movie, and Platinum is a shape-shifting girl, at least as far as I know, that's able to turn into anything needed. And let's see. What else? Oh yeah, we have a Wonder Twins movie coming up with where we know that the sister can change into whatever living object she could think, a living being she can think of, and the brother could turn into any kind of liquid. But then again, they could change that around, and the sister could be could turn into any kind of liquid, while the brother could shapeshift into anything, he could any kind of living thing he can think of, if not more. So we know that's happening. So it does bring up the question: could we see a female series movie or a show with a female shapeshifting, with the main female character getting shapeshifting powers to have fun with? Could we see something like that in the future? And I'd have to say yes. I'd have to say very much so yes, that we will probably see that, in the future. And again, it's not just because of the fact that we're getting something with a female-centric Plastic Man movie or Plastic Woman movie. Not just because of something with the Wonder Twins. Not just because of something with the Metal Men and Platinum being one of the characters being able to do that. But I think because, and I've said this before, I think because of the era that we're in. I think of the time frame and era that we're in, that it's only a matter of time before we see something like that. Because I think, because I think sooner or later we're going to get that announcement. And either it's going to be through Netflix, Amazon, Paramount, or even here on YouTube, or even Disney Plus or HBO Max, we're going to get that announcement. And once it happens, whether it's a show or a movie, it's going to become very popular. People are going to like it. They're going to enjoy it. They're going to have fun with it. Because the character herself is having fun with the powers that she has. So, could I see it happening? Yes, absolutely. Could I see it happening in the very near future? Oh, definitely. Definitely, because again, you have a character, you have a main female character gaining these abilities to become whatever she wants to be, whoever she wants to be, melt into a puddle of goop, liquid, whatever, and she wants to have fun with it, thus making it somewhat of a comedy or comedic kind of story. What possibilities would not make this a popular movie or a popular series when it comes out? None. Because honestly, a lot of people would be into it. A lot of people would love seeing this character, would enjoy, I should say, seeing this character do all that, because they could live vicariously through that character. So, do I see it happening? Yes. Do I see it happening soon in the future? Oh, absolutely. But the question is, though, where would it happen? What service would get it? And I think Netflix right now, even though the animation studio or whatever is not doing well or has been pretty much trounced, I think they'll still be able to work with other people to get something. So I can definitely see Netflix above all else, above anybody else getting it. Amazon is a good choice too. So is Apple TV, Apple TV Plus, or Apple Plus, if you will. Is a good choice. Just saying. And Hulu is good. Disney and HBO Max is potentially good. But I think out of all of them, it's going to be Netflix. I think Netflix will be the one that benefits the most out of it. And I think because they're a little bit of a bigger platform than Apple and Amazon, and even Disney and HBO to an extent, that it'll be it'll gain more popularity and more of an audience in the future with the presentation of the movie or of the show with this character in that role. Because you don't have to, because it's the kind of series that on a Netflix or even an Amazon, you don't have to have full 22 minutes. You can have just 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and that's it. And sometimes all you have to do is fill that 10, 15 minutes up with maybe the character having fun with the powers, shape-shifting into whatever she wants to become or whoever she wants to become, or melt down and all that. So I think definitely Netflix is the better scenario for a show or movie like that to land in the near future. But do I see it happening? Yes. Do I see it happening soon? Like I said, oh, absolutely yes. And again, I think people will enjoy it. I really do. So yeah. In conclusion, with the sixth topic here, I do see all of that happening. I see us getting a movie or a show with the main female character gaining shape-shifting powers to have fun with, that's making it somewhat of a comedy. And I do see it happening very soon in the future. I really do. But anyway, though, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for today's Topics on My Mind live stream for today, the 27th of April. Yes, we're almost in May. That's how quick this month has gone by. And, that's really all I have to say. Let me know what your thoughts are on some of the things I mentioned here. How do you feel about some of the things I've talked about? The Florida Disney situation, the 45-day theatrical window, Friendship is Magic seasons 5 to 8 coming back on to Netflix to be run alongside Make Your Mark. What are your thoughts of CinemaCon being open to the public, like San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con? What are your thoughts on fanfic writers using characters like Tails or Spike to be the focal point of the NFSW stories? And also, what are your thoughts on the potential of us getting a movie or a series with the main female character getting shape-shifting powers to have fun with? And do you think we'll see something like that in the near future on what I would consider probably the best platform for it, that being Netflix? What are your thoughts down below? Oh, let me know all what you have to say. Thank you to those that joined me in the live chat for this. Really appreciate it, guys. So until next time, once again, you can find me at patreon.com/BEW Roses to support me there at the $1, $3 tier. You can find me at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 to support me there. As well as you could find me at Cash App at BW Roses98. As well as you can check me out at DeviantArt.com. So that's BVW1979. And also check me out at VENMO at BW Roses for content you can't get here on YouTube due to copyrights. So until next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. Y'all have a good Wednesday, and I am out.